I'm Lesley Smith, and today I'm going to be showing you how to pick up fingers on a ferrule glove. But first I'd like to tell you a little bit about me. I was born and brought up in Shetland, and I learnt to knit when I was at the primary school, but I never really took to it, so I only managed to finish one thing the whole time I was at school. When I left school, I went down to the mainland Scotland to art college and studied textiles. When I was there, I mostly did screen printing and weaving and never really knitted. So when I came back up to Shetland, I thought I really needed to try and learn how to knit. So I signed up for a course at the further education college here to do machine knitting. And I did eventually manage to crack it. I worked for a couple of years freelance for small knitwear companies here, and then I went to Orkney and taught machine knitting at the college there for 3 years, but I really still didn't knit by hand. I moved back up to Shetland. I came to work here at Jamieson and Smith. And when I was working here, that's when I decided that I was going to give the hand knitting a go. I'd always wanted to knit ferrule socks, and they were not practical to knit on the machine, so with a lot of encouragement from my work colleague, I learned how to knit ferrule by hand. So today I am going to show you how to pick up the fingers on these gloves, which are my design, and I call these the humbug gloves. And you can see that there's no break in the pattern up the hand, the back of the hand or on the palm. The pattern just stays the same. So the way we normally do this on a pair of plain gloves is you would be picking up 2 stitches here and 2 stitches here, the same on every finger. But because we're trying to keep the pattern aligned, we have to sort of move the increases and the stitches that we're going to pick up to keep the pattern in alignment. So what I'm going to do is show you on this glove that I have made here. This is the right hand, and I've knitted all the way up to the fingers. And we are going to start with the little finger first. So I've got 72 stitches in total on the hand, and for each finger there'll be 18 stitches picked up from the back of the hand and the palm, and then I'm going to increase a further 4 stitches, so each finger will then have 22 stitches. And the first thing I've got to do is set up the stitches to make the little finger. So I am going to slip 9 stitches from the back of the hand onto the 5th needle here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I am going to take a piece of waste yarn on a needle. And this waste yarn is in a contrasting colour, so it's nice and easy to see. And it's also a synthetic, so it is nice and easy to remove when the time comes. And I am going to slip the next 52 stitches onto waste yarn here. Get this needle out of the way. And on the palm, okay. Right, I'm going to leave 9 on this last needle. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. There we go. I'm just going to cut the waste yarn here. Take that away. Okay, so we're going to turn this, the back of the hand up. Right, what we're going to do is knit across the first 9 stitches, and then I'm going to cast on an extra 4 stitches in pattern using the backward loop method. Okay, I'm going to cast on the stitches in the backward loop method following the pattern. As you can see on the chart here, I've knitted up to here, and these are the 4 stitches that I'm going to cast on. These stitches here are the last stitches from the hand, so the ones that we picked up on the needle. Right, so we're going to have a black stitch first, then 1 white, then 2 black. And it doesn't matter if your backward loops are left leaning or right leaning, because you won't be able to see them. This is going to sit in between your finger, as long as you don't cast on too tightly, because if you do, when you come to knit through these stitches for the next finger, you won't be able to get your needle through them. Right, I'm going to slip the first 7 stitches onto this needle here. 5, 6, 7. Which leaves us 2, 4, 6 here. It's a bit fiddly on the first row. So we've got 2, 4, 6 stitches here, and I want to have 8 on this second needle, so I'm going to knit in pattern for another 2 stitches. There we go. So we should have 7 left on this last needle here. 2, 4, 6, 7. And we're just going to knit in pattern across the next 7 stitches. Okay, so you can see we've cast on that extra 4 stitches. Get this needle out of the way. There. Okay, we're going to knit through those on the next row, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to follow row 2 on the chart. So we knit across the first 7 on this needle here. And then we knit on black, white. Now this is the backward loop, and when you knit these you have to make sure that you keep the twist in that loop, or else it will just open up and be way too slack. So this one's white, this one is white, so this one, and black. Okay, knit across the rest as usual. Okay, that is past the sort of tricky bit. Now you just have to knit up the rest of the finger as it's charted, and we'll move on to the ring finger. So we're going to get rid of this and take this one and this chart. This one's going to start off the same way as the last finger by picking up 9 stitches from the back of the hand and 9 stitches from the palm. So with your needle going from right to left, pick up 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you can pull out this piece of waste yarn here. Then I'm going to pick up 9 stitches on the palm. Now I like to pick them up with the back of the hand facing me and pick them up from right to left, because what I find is if I turn it this way and pick 9 stitches up in this direction, by the time I get up to these 2 stitches here, they've pulled really tight and it's quite difficult to get the point of your needle into those 2 stitches. So if you hold it like this, 1, 2, 3, I mean it's still tight-ish even from this angle. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it'll slacken up a little bit when you take the waste yarn out. Okay, and then I can check from the chart that I've picked up the right stitches. Okay, with a third needle and some yarn, going to knit across this first row, picking up and casting on stitches as we go. So you can see here this V means I have to pick up a white stitch from the base of the little finger with white yarn. So you can see in here we've got quite a lot of cast on stitches. So what I'm going to do is miss that black one out, and I'm going to put the tip of the needle through the 2 legs of that backward loop cast on stitch, and then the point this needle goes through there. I'm going to knit through here, and when I do this I leave quite a long tail here because this tail is going to be used to sew up the holes between the fingers when you've finished. Okay, get sewed away. Right, and then it's 2 black stitches next. And the same again, I leave quite a long tail here to sew up the holes. Okay, I'm just going to work in pattern across these stitches. We've come to here, so I'm going to cast on the backward loop, a white stitch and a black stitch. Put these ends inside so it's out of the way. I'm going to slip the first 7 stitches onto this needle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 2, 4, 5 on here. I want 8 on here, so I'm going to knit another 3 in pattern from here. So I need another 2 black. Okay, and then I have to pick up another stitch from the base with a little finger. So I'm just going to take the 2 legs from that backward loop, cast on stitch and knit through like that. And that's your first row. When you start, after you've made your first row, if you like, you can take a safety pin and just pin that finger down to the hand, and that stops it from getting in your way. And then just continue to knit the rest of the finger as it's charted. Now that you've finished the ring finger, you've got to imagine that you've knitted all the fingers. And the next thing you're going to be doing is turning it inside out and weaving in all the ends. You will end up with fairly big gaps between each finger, so I'm going to show you how I sew the holes up on the insides of the fingers. So let me get this out of the way. Okay, we'll just imagine that all the fingers and the thumb have been completed on this. So we're going to turn this one inside out. You can get a hold of the yarn from the tip of the finger, and it helps to pull the fingers through. Okay. So you can see here that you've got fairly large holes on the back, but once we sew this in and it's been washed and bordered, you'll never be able to tell. Right, so we've got 2 ends here, so this end I'm going to use to sew in the fingers on the palm, and the black thread I'm going to use to sew this hole on the back of the hand. So I need a needle. I'm going to thread the black up first. Now there's no exact way to do this really, you just have to sort of look at what you've got and try and find the best way to sew it up. So what I'm going to do is take that yarn underneath this float here and through there, which is the top of a white stitch. You're basically just sewing round in a circle through the tops of the stitches. So we go through another one there. And here you might have to go around a couple of times just to get it pulled tight enough. Okay. Keep going around. You shouldn't be able to see this from the front at all. So you can see that, you can't see my finger through there now. And then I just weave that end in across the floats at the back. Maybe 3 times. Okay. I'm going to turn it around and do the same on this side. It's the same again, you can see my finger poking through there, it's quite a big hole. So I'm just going to go through that float. Oops. This is why you're better off to leave a long end, because your needle doesn't unthread itself. Through here. Oops, that's that waste yarn showing through. Right. Through there. And we'll go under here one more time. And then the same again, just weave that in on the floats on the bottom of the finger. Right, I'm going to snip these ends off. Not too short, You can trim them more after you've washed your glove. So we'll turn that inside out. And let's take a quick look. Put the right hand in. There you go. That's closed up those holes. And you just do that for each finger and the sides of your thumb. And once it's been washed and boarded, if you've got boards, you can see there's no holes there, and the pattern is unbroken all the way up the hand. So that's it. I hope that's helpful. If you would like to see any more of my patterns, I'm on Ravelry as Socket and Etsy as Tack Sock. And you can feel free to get in touch with me if you have any more questions. Thank you.